From the ashes of war to the stars above, few figures in modern history embody the complex duality of human ambition, like Wernher von Braun. A man driven by his dream to reach the heavens, yet tied to the darkest chapters of the 20th century. Born in a time of great turmoil, von Braun's genius propelled him to the forefront of rocket science, building the world's first ballistic missiles for the Nazi regime. But it was his dream of space, of touching the unreachable, that defined his life's mission. From Germany's V-2 rockets to NASA's Apollo moon landings, von Braun's work changed the course of history. Yet, behind the achievements lies a story of conflict, between morality and innovation, between ambition and responsibility. This is the story of a visionary who shaped the future of mankind while wrestling with the shadows of his past. Prepare to embark on an extraordinary journey through triumph and controversy as we explore the life and legacy of one of the most brilliant and complicated figures of the modern era. This is the story of Wernher von Braun. Early life and ambition. Wernher von Braun was born on March 23, 1912, in Virsitz, Prussia, into an aristocratic family. His father, Magnus von Braun, was a conservative politician, while his mother, Emmy von Quistorp, nurtured his early interest in the universe, gifting him a telescope. Although he initially struggled academically, his fascination with space grew through the works of space theorists and science fiction, shaping his ambition to advance space travel. Von Braun attended a prestigious boarding school and later the Technical University of Berlin, where he studied mechanical engineering and joined the German Society for Space Travel, the VFR. By 1930, he was a prominent figure in the VFR. But as military funding became the primary source for rocketry, he began working with the German Army on rocket development. He earned his mechanical engineering degree in 1932 and a doctorate in physics in 1934, though his dissertation was classified due to military implications. Despite his alignment with the military, von Braun's true passion remained in space exploration, envisioning human settlements on other planets. His career in the mid-1930s involved developing rocket technology for military purposes, which intertwined his scientific aspirations with the political realities of Nazi Germany, leading to significant achievements alongside serious ethical dilemmas. The V-2 rocket and the dark legacy. As Wernher von Braun's career progressed in the 1930s, he found himself increasingly tied to the ambitions of the German military under the Nazi regime. With the rise of Adolf Hitler and the Third Reich, von Braun's rocketry expertise was seen as vital to Germany's efforts to gain technological superiority. This period marked a turning point in von Braun's career, as his scientific pursuits were directed toward warfare, culminating in the creation of the V-2 rocket, a weapon that would have a significant impact on the course of World War II, as well as on von Braun's legacy. In 1937, von Braun became the technical director of the rocket research program at the newly established Peenemünde Army Research Center on the Baltic Sea. This facility became the hub of Nazi Germany's missile development. Peenemünde was well-funded, and von Braun had access to top engineers and state-of-the-art equipment. It was here that von Braun, alongside a talented team of scientists and engineers, began work on what would become the world's first long-range guided ballistic missile, the V-2 rocket. The V-2 rocket, Vergeltungswaffe 2, or Retribution Weapon 2, was an engineering marvel. It was the first missile capable of reaching the edge of space and re-entering the atmosphere before striking its target. Standing over 14 meters, 46 feet tall, the V-2 could carry a 1-ton warhead at speeds exceeding 3,500 kilometers per h, 2,200 miles per hour, and had a range of more than 300 kilometers, 190 miles. This weapon was intended to be a game-changer for the Nazis, offering the potential to strike fear into the hearts of enemy populations, particularly in cities like London and Antwerp, which were key targets during the war. The first successful test of the V2 took place on October 3, 1942, a milestone in the history of rocketry. For von Braun, this was a moment of scientific triumph. The rocket reached an altitude of 84 kilometers, 52 miles, and landed 190 kilometers, 120 miles, from its launch site, proving that long-distance missile strikes were possible. Von Braun's lifelong dream of developing a vehicle that could breach the boundary of space had, in some sense, been realized. However, the use of the V2 was far from the peaceful space exploration von Braun had once envisioned. In September 1944, the Nazis began launching V2 rockets against Allied cities. London was hit multiple times, and the destruction caused by these rockets was catastrophic. Unlike traditional bombs, the V2 struck without warning. Traveling faster than the speed of sound, the missile would hit its target before anyone heard it coming. Thousands of civilians were killed or injured as a result of these attacks. Antwerp, another frequent target, suffered heavily from these strikes as well. As the war raged on, the production of V2 rockets was ramped up in response to Hitler's demand for a weapon that could shift the tide in favor of Germany. To meet these demands, the Nazis turned to forced labor, a decision that would forever taint von Braun's legacy. The Mittelwerk factory, where V2 rockets were produced, relied on the forced labor of prisoners from the nearby Mittelbau-Dora concentration camp. These prisoners worked under brutal and inhumane conditions, often underground in tunnels, with little food, inadequate shelter, and constant risk of death from overwork or execution. It is estimated that more than 20,000 laborers died while working on the V2 rocket program, many from exhaustion, malnutrition, or mistreatment. Von Braun, while heavily involved in the technical side of the V2 project, maintained later in life that he was unaware of the full extent of the atrocities at Mittelbau-Dora. He claimed that his focus was purely on advancing rocket technology and that he had little control over the political and military decisions regarding the use of forced labor. However, evidence suggests that von Braun and other engineers visited the production sites and saw the deplorable conditions firsthand. This raises serious ethical questions about his complicity, as he chose to continue working within the system rather than resist or object to the suffering being inflicted. Another troubling aspect of von Braun's work during the Nazi era was his membership in the SS, the paramilitary organization responsible for many of the regime's worst atrocities. Although von Braun later claimed he had little choice in joining the SS, stating it was a formality required for his work on the rocket program, it is nonetheless a stain on his reputation. He rose to the rank of SS Sturmbannführer, Major, a title that tied him directly to the Nazi regime's war machine. As Germany's defeat in World War II became inevitable, von Braun's focus shifted to survival. He realized that his expertise in rocketry would be valuable to the Allies, and in the closing days of the war, he and his team deliberately surrendered to American forces, hoping to escape prosecution and continue their work in a less oppressive environment. This decision would lead to one of the most controversial episodes in von Braun's life, his involvement in Operation Paperclip, which brought him to the United States. Operation Paperclip and Space Race. As World War II ended, Wernher von Braun and his team chose to surrender to the Americans, aligning with the Allies to continue their work in rocketry. This led to von Braun's controversial involvement in Operation Paperclip, a U.S. program that recruited German scientists, including those with Nazi ties, to leverage their expertise. Despite von Braun's involvement with the Nazi regime, including the use of forced labor in V-2 rocket production, the U.S. government downplayed these connections. He was brought to the U.S., where he worked on ballistic missile development for the Army. Von Braun's true ambition was space exploration, and after the Soviet Union launched Sputnik in 1957, his expertise became crucial. He was transferred to NASA, where he led the design of the Saturn V rocket, which powered the Apollo missions. In 1969, his dream was realized when Apollo 11 landed the first humans on the Moon, a moment of personal and scientific triumph. While von Braun became a celebrated figure in the U.S. for his role in space exploration, his Nazi past and involvement in war crimes remained subjects of criticism. His legacy is a moral paradox. Some viewed him as a visionary scientist, while others saw him as complicit in atrocities during World War II. Despite this, von Braun's contributions to space exploration earned him a lasting place in history. He retired from NASA in 1972 and spent his later years promoting space technologies before his health declined. Legacy, controversy, and moral complexity. Despite his remarkable achievements, von Braun's past remained a source of controversy. His association with the Nazi regime, the use of forced labor in V-2 production, and his moral responsibility in the deaths caused by those missiles continued to haunt his reputation. While some viewed him as a genius who advanced human space exploration, others could not separate his scientific accomplishments from the unethical means by which they were achieved. In his later years, von Braun worked in the private sector, promoting space travel and advanced technologies. However, his health declined, and in 1977, at the age of 65, he died of cancer. Von Braun left behind a complex legacy. He is remembered both as the visionary who helped put humanity on the Moon and as a man whose technological achievements were built in part on the suffering of thousands. His story serves as a reminder of the ethical dilemmas that can arise when science and politics intersect. Wernher von Braun's life is a story of vision, contradiction, and undeniable brilliance. A man who, through the fog of war and the boundaries of morality, gazed far beyond the earth and imagined a future where humankind could touch the stars. His work ushered in an era of space exploration that continues to shape our world today, inspiring generations to dream bigger, to reach higher, and to push the limits of what we believe is possible. As we continue to reach for the stars, the legacy of Wernher von Braun lives on, reminding us that even the most complex of figures can change the course of human destiny. This is the story of Wernher von Braun, a visionary whose dreams took us beyond Earth and whose legacy continues to shape the future.